Hello everyone. This video will show you how to create labels in WorldShare Record Manager Fundamentals. You'll first need to create templates for the labels you want to create. Next, you'll need to add items to a label print list. Then, while viewing your label print list, you can select the template you want to use and make edits if needed, and finally print the labels. We'll go to Record Manager and go over each of these steps. So first, we'll take a look at label templates. After logging into the WorldShare interface, click on My Labels, and then I'll click on Label Templates. You can create up to 25 customized label templates. You would click in the checkbox to display the label template as a menu option on the label's print list page. Your default label template will appear as selected on the label print list. If you click on the name of one of the labels, for example, I'll click on A12360, which also happens to be the label format in this case, I can see the settings, the page settings. Below that are the label settings, and below that are the label content settings. If you want to change anything, for example, maybe I want to change the size of my font from 9 to 10, I can do that, and I'll do that for each of the lines here. And you can also see that there are 5 lines here that are in the range of the printable area. So now to preview this, I can click on Preview Label Alignment. Alignment shows up in another tab. To save my changes, I'll click on Save. Now I'll click on Go Back to go back to my list of templates. To create a new template, I'll click on New Template. I have to give it a name, so I'm going to call this SL4, and that's also the label format that I'm going to select, SL4. This is a label set using 1 spine and 2 processing labels. I'll leave the units set at the default inches. I'm going to click on Page Settings to open that section. And I'm going to leave this set at the defaults. If I need to change it, I'll come back and make some adjustments. Then I'm going to click on the spine label settings. And the same here, I'm going to leave the defaults as they are for the height, width, and the margins and so on. Next, I'm going to click on the processing label settings. And remember, I have 2 processing labels for this format. So I can click Mirror Edits, use the same measurements and margins for both. And that way, if I did make a change to one of the labels, the exact same change would be made to label 2. But again, I'm going to leave these at the defaults for now. And scrolling down, I now have the spine label content settings. If I wanted to add an automatic stamp, I could put that here. For example, maybe I want to have something print on top of every label, like REF. Below that, I want to select for the contents the stamp 1 for the first line, and then for the additional lines that follow, I'm just going to select data for the call number lines. And I'm going to select, I think, 6 lines here. And then I'll leave it at the default font, Arial. The size is 12. The style is regular. I could change it to bold or italic or bold italic, and I'll leave it set at the alignment left. And you can see there's quite a large printable area for this label. Scrolling down, I'm going to go to the processing label content settings below that. And for my processing labels, I'm also going to click on Mirror Edits. So I'm just going to fill in the fields for the first label, and that will be copied over to the second. And for my processing label, I'm going to have 2 of them, but I want them both to just have the title on it. And I'll leave the font and size and all the other settings the same. And then I'm going to go to the top and click on Save. And the system says Save the label template. I'm going to click on Go Back. And now you can see SL4 there in my list of my label templates. If I need to change anything, I can just select it again And if I want to see the preview label alignment, I can click on that just to make sure that I've done it the way I want to. There you can see the stamp ref at the top, 1 spine label and 2 processing labels. Next, I want to go to my label print list. So I'm going to click that on the left here. And I have 3 label print lists. You can create up to 100 label print lists. I'm going to click on the main label print list. And this list has 3 titles in it. And the label template, my default is A12360, so that is why that is showing at the top. But in my drop-down list, I can select another template. I'm going to select the SL4 I just created, and then you can see below the labels as they would appear. I can edit them if I need to. I can also change the starting position. Let's say that my label print starting position is going to be 3. So the first 2 labels may be on my sheet I've used up. If I need to make any changes, I can click on Edit and make a change. So for example, I'll click Edit here. Maybe I want to change this to A35. And when I do that, you can see the change has also been applied over here on the left in the preview of the label. And it is saved automatically. So I'm just going to go back now. And now you can see that that change is here in my spine label for the first title there. Now I could add more items to this label print list. I could add using a record barcode by clicking here and then just scanning in the barcode. I could also just go back and do a search for the records that I want to add. So for example, if I have an OCLC number, I'm going to go ahead and do a search for that. And I'll click on the title to open the record. And my library is profiled for Library of Congress. So when I go to print the labels, the system would first look for an 090 in the record. A blank 090 will be in my record if I'm profiled for Library of Congress. So if I enter a LC call number here, the system would first look there when printing labels. If it doesn't find a call number there, it would then look for an 050 in the record. And so I have the 050 right here, which is what will be used for my label. So I'm going to go to the record menu, and then I'm going to select Send to Label Print List. And the first in the list is the main. That's my default, and that is where I want this to be sent. So I'm going to click on Send. And the system confirms it has sent the record to the label print list main. I can go right to that label print list by clicking on main here rather than going to my labels and so on. So I'll click on main. And now you can see this title has been added to my label print list. Now, if I wanted to add additional labels, I could increase the count here. Let's say I want 2 labels for this item, so I've changed it to 2. The last column over here, record type, says bibliographic for all of my items here. And this is because the label is coming from the bibliographic record. I've selected that Send to Label Print List from the bib record. The other option would be if you use LHRs or create LHRs for an item, you could send the item to the label print list from the local holdings record. And in that case, it would be taken from the 852 field. Now let's look below. Again, here is my SL4 format for these labels. And again, if I want to make any changes, I simply click on Edit. If everything looks good, I can click on Print, and then you can see what the labels would look like here, and then I'd be able to go ahead and print this. If you have questions or need additional help, please visit help.oclc.org for documentation, training, and contact information for OCLC support in your region.